And on 3, we'll kick your head off.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, and the technicolor rainbow in between, this is Modular Media Wrestling Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Gaston, and with me is my tag team partner.
Sick a sap, grab a pap. It's the vacuuminator here. It's fucking 4th of July on this recording. I'm drinking. We're going to talk about wrestling. It's the good shit, people. I'm drinking tonight fucking a coconut margarita in a bottle, and I've got a few more here tonight. I don't know how long this podcast is going to go, but I'm not going to stop drinking till it's over because fuck it. I don't care. I have never had a hangover before, and I figure if I'm going to ever have one, then tomorrow morning, the day after 4th of July, is the fucking one, because fucking real world parallels criticism. Chris, what are we fucking talking about tonight?
We're talking about wrestling.
Oh, that's actually kind of gnarly. That's kind of gnarly. I like coconut stuff, but that is a bit gnarly.
Is it like sunscreen?
No, not quite. Oh my god, now that you mention it, it does have that texture. It has the same texture as sunscreen. What the fuck?
You're welcome. Well, we're going to be talking about the professional wrestlings and goings on in a bit, but here's the thing. We're completely disillusioned with about 95% of WWE, so we're only going to really talk about NXT.
Yeah.
And specifically, AEW, which last time we were talking
about... Yes, AEW, the most well-known staple in NXT.
You know what the fuck I mean. I'm talking like, we're talking about NXT, but also AEW. That's the conversation. That's a conversational, that's a transition.
I'm just busting your balls, buddy.
I'm trying to think if there was a nut shot in the last month of wrestling that I could reference. Nope. Not that I can remember. But last time we were talking, they had just finished up Double or Nothing. And they made one final little, like, capstone to their internet series, Road 2. For it, just kind of looking back and reflecting on all they did and what they've done, and it's just like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a good time. I had fun at that show, but I wasn't there. I just watched it, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm 2 drinks in. I've had 2 sips. What is going on with my speaking skills?
Everything. But yeah, it was just really kind of cool to see them reflect on just like the challenges they went through and all that kind of stuff, even if it was kind of a more kayfabe version of it.
Yeah. Well, that's what that's for. That's for the kayfabe build while they don't got their TV show that's coming.
Oh, yeah. And even Tony Khan's all in on the kayfabe because I've been watching some interviews with him.
You've been subscribed to that Chris Van Vliet?
No, I've been watching his stuff. I'm not subscribed to him just because I don't want... He, like, posts a video every day, and it's like, I only want to watch the wrestlers I care about.
He interviewed Luchasaurus the other day. I'm excited to watch that.
Oh, the Luchasaurus! I've watched the Luchasaurus interview.
Oh, don't!
It's so good. It's so good. It's just like fun because they also go into him being on Big Brother.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. It was brief. And it was more like, hey, how did Big Brother being on Big Brother help your wrestling? And it's like that kind of stuff. But yeah, Double or Nothing really kind of piqued a lot of interest, especially this one tag team coming in, invading, making a muck and mockery, the Dark Order.
Yes, the former brothers who smash things in a very super fashion.
Essentially, the Super Smash Brothers, a Canadian tag team who hasn't been able to really perform in America for a good couple of years because of visa issues. Have that all figured out, and now they're working AEW. It seems like they're the kind of little bit supernatural, little bit white family with hints of like...
They seem like the Ministry, but not shit.
It's a sex cult because they are just like rubbing their hands all over their minions.
Yeah.
At least Evil Uno is. The other guy, he's just like thin, angry Viking guy.
Which, I mean, doesn't every team need one of those?
Oh, yeah. I mean, imagine how much better the Shield would have been with a thin, lanky Viking boy.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of, they showed up at Double or Nothing, did a whole lot of things. They did a really bomb ass promo because when they were at Double or Nothing, everybody was going, "Who are you?" chanting that, and they weren't like, "You're asking us who we are." And it's just like,
you're gonna find out, motherfuckers. That's like, yes, A+ use of audience reaction.
Oh yeah. The next time they showed up, for some reason, the audience still isn't responding. I really am loving the Dark Order. I think they just need to do.
We'll talk about the audience for the thing. I'm pretty sure you're talking about when we get to that thing. But basically, I think not as many people are watching Road 2 and being the elite as we think are, and it's hurting the product.
Yeah. And that can go for a lot of things. But speaking of some important members of the AEW roster, Moxley has gone Japanese and is fighting in the G1.
Yep, he went over to the land of the Nihongos, and he beat up quite a few Nihongos, and then our boy Kenta showed up to do another thing, and nobody really cared because, holy shit, Moxley's running around dressed like Steve Austin, and he's carrying around a half-unconscious Japanese man who he's probably going to adopt as his child now.
Oh yeah, the young lion. I'm pretty sure that's Red Shoe's son.
Nice.
For those who don't know, Red Shoes is probably the most recognized referee in Japanese professional wrestling, and New Japan has their own kind of NXT system called Young Lions.
Yeah.
Young Lions is completely different, though. It's weird.
Yeah, I have watched a video on both of those things, but I've never watched the actual things. That being Red Shoes and Young Lions.
There's been some speculation that that guy is going to go on his excursion with Moxley and kind of come to AEW.
That would be very fun.
Yeah, because
at this point, I honestly, I hope WWE releases Renee, as bad as this sounds, just so AEW can sign her, and fucking AEW can do that storyline of my husband is a wrestler, but I also work for the company 1,000,000 times better than WWE.
Oh yeah. But in fact, I saw like one fantasy booking storyline because there's one wrestler that I think it's not Ishii. It's another big guy wrestler in New Japan who just abuses the Young Lions because it's kayfabe abuse. They're just like, okay, you got to be ready for any wrestling move at any time when we're doing a wrestling show. And it's basically preparing them to think on their feet.
Yeah.
And make sure all that kind of stuff. Let me silence my phone.
Ooh.
And several people were fantasy booking an idea of like, oh, this Red Lion goes out with this hardcore legend, does a bunch of hardcore shit, comes back to New Japan, and just wrecks to the house with that guy for all the as revenge for all the Young Lions.
That would be very cool.
Oh yeah. And speaking of a person coming in and training and coaching, Sean Spears is all elite
guy.
We'll get to it.
No, I was referring to the Twitter post that MJF made as soon as he got signed.
Yeah. Sean Spears, you may know him better as Ty Dillinger. He asked for really 10.
Who?
10. Right.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Royal Rumble guy.
Yep. Notice he also did that at the Casino Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was two things of 5, and he was the 10th one out.
Yep.
Because there wasn't like a giant group of people shouting 10, it didn't. You had to think about it a little bit more, which is
subtle.
Nice.
It was nice subtle booking. It was good S word.
Yeah. But Sean Spears came to AEW. He was announced in Road to Double or Nothing.
Yeah, it was like, this guy's going to be in the Casino Battle Royal, but he's one of those guys who were just getting in for this Battle Royal. He's not signed. And then immediately after Double or Nothing, they were like, we signed him.
Yeah, like along with Luchasaurus.
Yeah. Which, I mean, how can you not sign Luchasaurus when you have Jungle Boy and they've got such a good thing going?
Oh yeah. But during when they were announcing, he's officially signed. Cody Rhodes was talking about, he's going to be a great player coach, a good hand, basically saying like, we're not expecting a lot from him, but he's going to be really good to like bring up some newer talent, like to help flesh them out, which is important for later.
Oh yeah.
And then another big thing, there was a long podcast interview with Tony Khan on, of all things, the Stone Cold podcast.
Yes, everybody's favorite wrestle podcast that is not our podcast. I'm just kidding. Had the Mr. Khan on, and I did actually listen to the whole thing. Did you, Chris?
No, I was reading a lot of the, like, here's the things you need to know about the Tony Khan interview. Blah, 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 blah.
So you watched Wrestle Talk that day?
No, I was following it on Squared Circle when people were...
Okay. I see that.
Yeah. I'm not finding it on there so I could talk about all the things.
Oh. Well, we do have the highest of highlights written down here on our card, which is that Stone Cold loved Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing confirmed for good people. The debate is settled once and for all. It's Stone Cold approved. Fuck Meltzer. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But Stone Cold, we have official approval here. Good pay-per-view. AEW confirmed for not shit.
Yeah. But he talked about Christopher Daniels is the head of talent relations, which is Triple H's job at WWE.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I really like how they didn't make a big deal out of that. Like, obviously now it's out in the open that this interview has happened before, but there's no big announcement like, and head of talent relations, Christopher Daniels. It's just like, no, Daniels is a people person. He's gonna handle the people.
Yeah. And, like, they're making a bigger deal out of some of their positions in the company, partially because I think that's going to be kind of part of their gimmick at AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Part of Cody's gimmick is he's an executive vice president. Same thing with the Bucks. Same thing with Omega. And that's partially the same thing with Brandy being the chief brand officer.
She is the designated heel authority figure for some reason, even though Cody is the big damn hero.
I don't think she's a full heel. It's just more of like, it's more ambivalent to heels or faces, so it can come off as heelish, but it's just more of like, I just want to make sure this works and runs properly. I don't give a shit about either of you.
I think it's I think they're trying to do the Triple H thing of like, I'm kind of crafty, schemy person, and I want to keep myself on top and make sure this is the best show possible, which means I have to be on top. But it can sometimes come off a little more sloppy than that.
And I think the only big like heel thing she might have done in AEW so far is inserting Awesome Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it.
I forget, was it Being the Elite or Road 2 where she had some kind of segment where she was like having a pool party with a couple girls who had a match at Double or Nothing and was like,
that was Being the Elite.
You're gonna win. Oh, you go do this. You're gonna win.
Yeah, that was Being the Elite.
Mm-hmm.
But Tony Khan also mentioned that they're not really going to do house shows. It's going to be a 2-hour weekly live show.
Mm-hmm. They will travel, and it sounds like it's going to be much less of a grueling schedule on wrestlers. It sounds like it's going to be less of a get the big guns on every show kind of a thing, and other people can show up for pay-per-views and house shows, and more of a just, who do we have this week who's able to come out? Okay, do an angle for your storyline, this sort of a thing.
Yeah, which I think could, as long as they have a good hand at remembering things, they'll be good. And with the fact that they have so many people actively not booking themselves like they did, WCW had, but they're booking other people and they genuinely like those other people, they'll probably remember shit easier.
I think the biggest thing they have going for them now, and this has been said in several interviews, is that all of their booking is done through a group text. So literally everything is in writing from the get-go. It's easy to be like, wait, were we gonna, what was that thing we wanted to do? And then just scroll, there it is.
Yeah. Which is good. It's great. It's perfect. And it also makes it a lot more flexible. You don't have to have a meeting every goddamn Monday like WWE has and goes like, all right, and let's pass it through this one guy. And
wait, the show started 20 minutes ago? Okay, this is the finish.
Yeah. It can be a lot more flexible. Especially because with other interviews, Tony Khan basically said, yeah, we kind of want to have a more rotating roster. Not everybody's not going to be on every show.
Yeah.
So there could be like 2 weeks where a person's not on the card. And they have all that time. And that's time that they could go wrestle other places. They could work on their own other things, like Britt Baker being a dentist.
It sounds like it's going to be a bit like current NXT, where it's like they have 2 to 6 of the main stars on every episode, but then you get the mid-card and the lower card people get more of the TV matches, but then all the big names are in the pay-per-view.
And he also mentioned the tag team champions, because that's a big thing the Young Bucks have been going on about. They want to make tag team wrestling very relevant again.
Yes.
So the setup is that they are now making the brackets for the tournament, which will begin when the television program begins.
Yes, it's going to be a tournament that's, I'm going to guess, is going to go for a couple months. And the winners of that will be the contenders to become the championships. And I assume the team that wins will face the Bucks.
I would prefer it if the winners of the tournament just became the champions. I don't want the Bucks to be the final boss. I would prefer if the Bucks were just another team within the ranks of the tournament and like they get eliminated just like any other team. I don't want them to have preferential treatment, you know?
Yeah, I can see that, but also because they're executive, whatever the fuck, and they're such a legendary tag team in their own right at this point, I feel like you kind of have to do that in order to get whoever your first champs are over.
I mean, that's what the tournament's for, is they have to win like 5 wrestling matches in a row and they can look dominant.
True.
I just don't want AEW to kind of fall into the traps that WWE is going at right now with like Shane McMahon of like, oh, the authority figure is just that good at wrestling and he has to be treated like that. And it's like, no.
Wrestler.
Yeah.
Say as I start to drink everything left in this bottle.
But the women's world champion will be unveiled at All Out.
Yeah, sorry, I think I misspelled that. But yeah, neat little segment where Brandy basically did the same thing they did in the lead up to Double or Nothing with the main. I shouldn't say it that way. Not the main championship, the men's championship, where it's in a baggie. Title. Yes, it's in a baggie, and and we're going. We have it. We know what it is, and there's going to be a thing to decide it, but we're not going to say what that is until after the next pay-per-view. And it's like, okay, so that's the format, is it?
It should be good. And everything leading up to All Out seems to be interesting so far. I mean, it's Omega versus Moxley.
Oh, dude, I can't
wait. And they're building that up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Hangman versus Omega. Not Omega, Jericho.
I mean, it's not official at this point, but because of a thing we're probably going to talk about in a few minutes, we can pretty much guess Cody versus Shawn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that too.
So, do you want to talk about that thing?
Yeah. So, they had it's not really a pay-per-view. The best way I can describe it is like a feeling.
It was a live streaming event.
Yeah, because they're trying to get out some of the kinks between their production and trying to figure out their voice. And they don't have a TV show to do that yet, so they're just putting on a good couple shows between now and then to kind of bust out. They're doing several pilots.
And,
that's what these are. They're pilots.
And what we're on we're talking about Fyter Fest for anyone who couldn't guess. But what we're on the topic of production, I do want to say straight off, and this is not because of the squared circle post, but I did really agree with the squared circle post because I've been thinking this since Double or Nothing. They need to fix how the fucking themes sound on the show. Theme songs are a very big thing for me in wrestling. I need to hear that shit loud and clear. I don't want that on the fucking camera mics. I want that piped through properly.
There's going to be times where you can't do that. And that, like what ECW used to do because they had licensed music. The venue had the license to play the music, but the show didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that that's going to be a thing because it's weird. Like, the Best Friends is brand new original music, so is Kenny Omega's. I would assume they have the license. Maybe they're trying to evoke that older school feeling.
That's probably it, but also it just doesn't sound good. It sounds not very amateurish, but it sounds kind of amateurish. And yes, I know this is a brand new company, but like I would appreciate that extra bit of polish. We'll see
what they do, but if I may be completely honest, I only watched one match on the buy-in.
Really?
Yeah, because I watched the first match and then I kind of went on Squared Circle as it was happening.
No, you listened to them.
And it's just more of like, I'm not going to not watch it. It's just more of like, oh, I already have like 30 minutes of Fyter Fest already going. I can just start watching the main card right now. Because I started watching it later.
See, I watched it the next day, so I didn't have that, like, I gotta wait for a buffer. And I did watch the whole pre-show, and I got a fucking thing to say to all these people out here who are fucking poo-pooing this pre-show and going like, it's so awful that they're shoving all this comedy garbage in the beginning. I thought this was supposed to be a serious wrestling show. How you expect people to buy your pay-per-view if you've got all this dumb garbage that's not representative in the pre-show? People. It's a free show. They don't have to convince anyone to buy it.
No, but the pre-show is to convince you. It's like, hey, here's an appetizer to make you want to buy the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. And I have heard that argument, and my response to that is, yeah, if you still don't like those matches, I guess you don't watch Being the Elite, because the Bucks and Kenny like themselves some goofy shit. No matter how much Tony Khan goes on and on about, like, this is going to be the serious sports-like wrestling company, and we're going to bring wins and losses back into calculation, you're still going to get some goofy shit from time to time, because some of the executives in this company like their goofy shit. And you know what? I know people are flocking to this company because they're tired of WWE's goofy shit, but quite honestly, I don't mind goofy shit if it's done well, and I think this goofy shit was quite well done. It was a good steak.
I'm not saying it's wrong or they're wrong. I'm just saying, like, I understand why they were kind of like, really, guys? Really?
I know. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at them.
And it was more of like, I was excited and I wanted to see the sportsman AEW, which right now, so far, the main cards have been consistent with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing, is people are also getting so up in arms over this pre-show. It's a fucking pre-show. You don't, by definition, you do not have to watch it. And even then, when you don't have to watch it, they're still putting a good amount of work into it. Like, do you have the card up for this fucking event?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, the buy-in, the first match of the buy-in was the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Barrera, to SoCal Uncensored and Private Party.
My God, what a good tag match! I
love this match. I love this match.
Like, I'm still not into the Best Friends. I don't know what it is. They're just not clicking with me. But SCU looked good as fuck, and Private Party, for people who were complete unknowns to me going into this show, they are now over as fuck. I am excited for them, and I was so happy to see on Being the Elite the next day, or a day or two later, whatever it was, that immediately after that match, the Bucks went up to him and went, "Hey, here's full-time contracts. You guys are going to get a paycheck every other week now."
Dope. And the stipulation for this match was that the winners would have a first round bye in the tag team championship. Basically, they win their first round.
Mm-hmm.
So the best friends are immediately going into the next round of competition for the tag team tournament because they win.
Yeah, good for them.
The next match was Ali and versus Leva Bates with Peter Avalon, which are the librarians.
Yes. Okay. So a lot of people are really confused / annoyed by the librarian gimmick. And in my personal opinion, if you are still thinking that even after this show, you have to have not been watching Being the Elite, because this gimmick has been all over Being the Elite. That's where all the development for it has been. And for something that I wasn't exactly sure what was going on the first couple episodes it was in, I'm now really into it. I find this really hilarious and interesting, where basically it's the story of this guy and this gal who both get picked for this job by two different people, where there's two different heads in this company not talking to each other. And they just say, well, you're still working because we like you better, but the other guy likes you better, and neither of us are willing to budge. But isn't it weird that there's two of us? Like, it's confusing people. Yeah, but we got to do it because the guy above the both of us wants you. Like, that's the reason for the librarian gimmick in kayfabe, is that it was Tony Khan's one stipulation in the booking, is like, I have this, I want a librarian wrestler. And it's like, I doubt that's something Tony Khan would actually say, but okay. Okay, nice. So they're feuding over who is the actual librarian, or at least that's what it was, because Peter Avalon was like, well, if I'm stuck with this job, I should at least try to be the best at it. And oh god, I feel like a jackass. What's her name?
Leva Bates.
Leva Bates was like, well, I know I can do this job a million times better than this random jack off. Fuck him. I'm just gonna ignore him and tell everybody to shush. And then after Double or Nothing, they finally had an on-screen interaction, and being in the same room with her made him realize that, oh my god, this woman is amazing. I'm in love with her? ? And so now their feud has turned into, he is desperately trying to win her affections and trying to stay out of her way at the same time so he doesn't piss her off by also being the librarian. And so she had this match which was scheduled to be someone else, I forget who, but she comes out and she finds Peter Avalon hiding in the tent on the stage, which, by the way, great fucking set for this show. Great little Fyter Fest parody going on just in this, or Fire Festival parody going on just in the stage in itself. And she finds him hiding in the tent. Clearly, he's just sitting there to watch her and observe and try and figure out how he can get this very attractive woman to go on a date with him. And he's like, I totally wasn't spying on you, and then proceeds to follow her down to the ring. And then she cuts a promo, and clearly the entire audience is not into it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, there's a dude who yells, this gimmick sucks. Someone else yells, that's not even a real book. All this kind of stuff. Well, she's trying to cut a not great, but competent promo on the merits of reading over most other modern entertainment. And then, because the promo is over, or rather, they want it over, is supposedly the backstage kayfabe reason. Ali comes out, and Ali looked fucking great in this match. I'd not seen very much of Ali from their Impact show, but she looked like what I expected Kylie Ray to be at Double or Nothing. And that's not the bash on Kylie Ray. It's just Ali had this spunk and this spring in her step that like really got me excited. I was like, oh, look at this happy little girl. She's gonna come and kick some ass. That's great.
Yeah.
And then they has fight, and Allie gets to kind of introduce her character to people by being very happy and very high-steppy at the beginning, but then as you get more into it, the demon side of her character comes out. And then it ends on Peter Avalon trying to distract Allie by throwing a book at her, but it ends up distracting Leva Bates because Leva Bates watches him throw the book, and Allie catches it and then super kicks her and pins Leva Bates. And now, presumably, the storyline is going to go in the direction of Leva Bates is pissed at Peter Avalon for the loss, and he's like, "But I was trying to help you. I just want to get laid, please."
Also, I just want to mention there was a great moment in one of the Being the Elites with Peter Avalon where he's going like, "Hey guys, I want to request my release," and they're like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm not sure about how being the librarian with there being another librarian." And then the Young Bucks just full on went on WWE.
Yeah, just like, "We're gonna extend your contract and give you paid vacation." That shit was great.
It was perfect because they're it's not Rowan, it's the other Wyatt boy,
Luke Harper.
Yeah, Luke Harper. He requested his release, and they were like, "Nope."
Mm-hmm.
It was just bullshit.
Which reminds me, here is your monthly "fuck you, Vince McMahon" from MMWP.
Yeah. And the next match was Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabeli.
So people got really pissed off about this because it's a celebrity showcase match and it's a comedy death match, which seems like the exact opposite of the kind of thing AEW is trying to sell itself as. And apparently it was just one of the stickling points for CEO. It was in the contract of like, we want this match to happen because we love Michael Nakazawa, and our head dude would like to say he wrestled a match once in his life. And honestly, I think it turned out way better than it had any right to. Like, I get why people are pissed off just that it exists, but I think it could have been so much worse. I honestly...
Yeah, and Alex is the guy who runs CEO, and they're sharing the venue. It was kind of like here's a tip of the hat. I'm not upset at this. Like, this is fine. It's like I say, I didn't skip this because I think it's bullshit. I skipped it because, wait a second, other shows are going on, and I'm being called. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm just going to use this time to look at pictures of Michael Nakazawa covered in baby oil, because that's just how I roll when I'm drinking.
All right, I'm back.
All right. I do want to say, though, like, just to lend a bit of an olive branch to those who are really pissed off about this match, I think the mistake here was in the order of the booking rather than just that this happened at all. Like, if this had been the first match of the night and then you did the librarian thing and then you did the triple threat tag match, I think this pre-show, we keep calling it a pre-show, it's called the buy-in. I think the buy-in would have gone a lot more over than it has.
I saw several people talk about that, making that suggestion.
Yeah.
But enough about the free shit. Let's talk about the shit that was also free, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Christopher Daniels versus SEMA, a little tiny rematch from their tag team match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, there was some good story built to this in being the elite, and honestly, I think it turned out really rather well. I didn't really know a lot about Shima going into Double or Nothing, but now I feel like I'm pretty well acquainted with these two, and they're really capable in the ring. Like Daniels, to those who didn't know him pre AEW, I think he has now proven himself as more than just that guy who is in charge of a tag team.
Yeah, like I don't think they're the same kind of in personality, but I feel like these two guys are in the same position that people like Randy Orton are in WWE. They're main event players, but they're not putting main event things because they're veterans, so they're putting more in like interesting things to kind of fill out stuff and make it interesting.
Yeah,
which
they
you know
are
what?
the look, it's that boy guys.
Yeah, but kick-ass match, hard strikes, big punches. SEMA won.
Yeah, bit surprising, but still neat.
But it also gives like credence that SoCal and Censored are better as a tag team because they can work together and have good teamwork. But Christopher Daniels is lesser as an individual, and it creates some interesting power dynamics.
Definitely.
The next match, featuring a sad wrestle face, is Yuka Sakazaki, Nyla Rose, and Riho.
All the best girls in the ring together, having fun and kicking ass. I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Nyla Rose looked 10 times better in this match than she did at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, and I guess this would be a good time to start talking about the commentary. Did you catch the bit where Excalibur is like, would you just look at the tree trunk-like legs of Nyla Rose? And then Jim Ross right away is just like, and just for the record, that was Excalibur, not Jim Ross.
Jim Ross was on the ball this episode, this pay-per-view.
I'd say he had a couple of kind of wonky spots, like during the Bucks Kenny match. Well, it wasn't so much his fault. I think it was more of a book. We'll talk about that when we get to the match. I have a couple qualms with Ross, but we will talk about them when we talk about them. I shouldn't bog down discussion of this match when we're talking about it, because this match didn't have any commentary problems, and also it was fucking good.
But it also had one of the best calls of the match, because the whole match was great. Two Joshis going a million miles per hour, hitting a giant brick wall known as Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
I'm so glad one of the big hosses of AEW is a woman.
It's very refreshing. And that's me saying that after suffering through months and months of them trying to push, oh god, what's her name? She's been out of action for a while now. Nia Jax. The Nia Jax WWE heel push, which sucked ass. She is a fine wrestler. I've got no problem with an overweight woman wrestling, but good god, was the character writing they were giving her terrible.
Yeah. But this was just great. Riho won, and I can't remember who she pinned. She pinned one of them.
Now, this is something I was thinking about after this match in kind of a back of my mind way. Is she the Joshi that's dating Kenny Omega?
Hold on, let me Google. Who is Kenny Omega?
Also, while you're doing that, I'm going to crack open my second drink of the night. Ah, shit. I didn't get it. Try from the other end. There we go.
Personal life.
It's quite zesty. That's a lime margarita.
Oh, he has Japanese citizenship. Kenny Omega does.
What an absolute lad.
Yeah. I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything. I know he's I saw something. Again, this may be squared circle conjecture. but I saw a post saying like, "Oh yeah, that's the one that's dating Kenny Omega." So I may be remembering something wrong.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't know who it is on any level. I just know at one point you told me he was dating a Joshi. And because I'm a bit of a dickhead, after she won, I was immediately like, is she the one who's dating Kenny? Because she's been getting a bit of a push recently. Not that she doesn't deserve it because she's a good performer, but just that there was that bit of my mind that was like, you know, Kenny did that whole promo where he was talking about how much he likes Joshi wrestling and how much he's worked with Riho. Are they dating?
I know he's bi. I know he's bi in real life.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. This is old. This is old. That's 2018. Dating. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Kenny Omega, who does he want to make Oprega?
I know
Strike that from the record.
Nope. Because I won't remember. I think it may be Riho.
Okay.
They've teamed together. They teamed together in DDT and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it's her. I don't know.
That sounds about right. Maybe it's her.
Maybe, I don't know. Hold on, let's see. Riho.
Welcome to MMWP, everyone. I hope you're enjoying this hot goss.
Oh, lordy. I'm trying to find. I mean, she's been wrestling for quite some time.
Yes.
She's been wrestling for 12 years, even though she's only like 22.
Yeah, I believe since she was 14, someone said somewhere at some time in a place.
Yeah. So, no idea. No idea who Kenny Omega's dating. It may be her, it may not be. Who knows? It's not any of our business. Not really. But she won, and there was a beautiful moment where you saw Yuka's face, and she was just so sad. And Jared had one of the best lines of the night, and that's a sad wrestle face.
Yes.
Well, it was a good match. Really good. It really made Nyla look strong. Hopefully she wins the next one, so we just don't go, she looked strong.
Yeah, hopefully they do not Big Show her.
Yeah.
Remember back when Big Show was a full-timer and they'd always hype up the Royal Rumble by going like, how is anyone going to deal with this huge colossus getting into the ring, this massive man? And then he just immediately gets dumped out.
Yeah. But the next match on the card is Jimmy Havoc, MJF, Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus, and Adam Page, a 4-way match. Just kind of bringing up the tension because they kind of had a little stare down at Double or Nothing.
Oh, this was a fabulous match. I flippin' loved it.
Especially with MJF cutting a little quick promo right before it.
Yeah, just, my God, the more I watch of MJF, the more I am convinced he is the new best promo boy. Because he is just so good at on the fly coming up with insults, it's ridiculous. Like
a 50-year-old who hasn't left his emo phase, like, oh.
I don't think even Ric Flair in his prime could rival this guy in the level of insults he's able to come up with. Like, so goddamn, like, even when he's doing something a bit predictable, he's able to swerve you. Like, in this very promo, everybody's chanting, you suck, and then he quiets them and goes, yeah, you know your 50-year-old mom whose basement you live in? She swallows. And I was thinking he's going to go, oh, she sucks too. But no, he added that extra little bit of just punch onto it, and it's like, you genius!
Yeah. It was a fucking great match. Jungle Boy had some great moments. There was a great moment with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yes. I love that that Luchasaurus is just his official hype man now. It's so good.
Oh man, I can't wait for Luchasaurus to just be like on his own. Like, I imagine Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus will be in the tag team tournament, and I can't wait for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Jimmy Havoc was also kick-ass here. He was just great as this old fuck you punk rocker kind of guy. He's only 35. I'm saying old, like he's old. He's not.
He looks a bit old for his age in the face, let's be honest.
Yeah, but also he ran around in punk circles. He's gonna look a little ragged.
That's true.
MJF was great as like a shitty guy. And Adam Page coming in with the win. They're really wanting to build him up as
he is
contender.
the fucking guy. Him and Kenny and MJF, I feel like, are the fucking guys at this point. With Moxley trailing just slightly behind.
And I think that's partially just because John Moxley is trying to get some of that Dean Ambrose stink off of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a great job at it, but he's still trying to get some.
The reason Kenny is in the guy scene is because he's been the guy in another company for years now.
Yeah. Well, he's been Dean Ambrose and getting shots up his butt. But Adam Page won.
Yes, he did. And he did not pin MJF. That's very important. MJF is still undefeated in AEW.
By pinfall. By technicality, he has lost, but not by pinfall.
Indeed.
And both of them have been against Adam Page. Ooh, rivalry. But the next match on the card is Cody with Brandy Rhodes and Darby Allin.
Oh my god, I loved this match.
Oh yes, it was great. It really set up a lot of the more like rules of the world that they're building, which is it's perfect.
And just like I know you were hype on Darby Allin from the first second he showed up in Road to Double or Nothing.
Oh yes,
I was more like, go ahead.
Because for the first time I saw that promo, I was like, okay, who's my new favorite wrestle boy?
I was more like, well, this fellow looks interesting. Now I'm like, okay, you're pretty good. I'm excited to see more from you. Especially after that fucking bump you took on the apron, you madman. You're not going to be able to do that in 5 years. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, he's already half dead.
Oh, jeez.
But Cody also like going head to head with this hardcore guy, going beat for beat with him.
And everybody being like, Cody, it's not safe. You're too old for this shit. What are you doing? And him being like, no, I can still do it. I can prove myself. I'm gonna hang with the best of them. And they take each other to the fucking time limit. They actually used a time limit count out in a fucking wrestling show. Oh my god, when was the last time you saw that?
WCW.
Exactly. And it worked so well here. Such a great way of like still making Cody seem like a fucking man, but getting Darby over, because Darby's going into this, Darby was a complete unknown, but now he's a guy who was able to go the entire time limit of a match with Cody goddamn Rhodes.
Oh yeah, and like it really sets up that no, time limits are a thing. We're not gonna fuck around with them. We're not gonna give them extra time. They're time limits. Like, this is how it's gonna work. And if that happens in a show, it happens in a show. And it just really makes you expect what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it shows that, because this wasn't some throwaway match. This was Cody's match, and it's like, oh shit. things can actually go this way. It's interesting.
Yep. Especially with the thing that happened next.
So then, stuff has just going on, and lo and behold, Sean Spears shows up with a chair, and he does a headshot against Cody Rhodes.
He fucking just obliterated Cody. He one-hitted that motherfucker. And I'll admit, this is the part of the podcast I have been the least looking forward to since Spider-Fest. Because there's been a lot of discussion over this spot. There's been a lot of back and forth. Should chair shots still be a thing? Concussion this, concussion that.
Chair shots to the body aren't as bad.
Yeah, why would they do that if they didn't know it was going to fuck up? Well, you can't always predict things. Like, here's the thing. This was not how they thought this spot was going to go. They had the chair gimmicked and planned for a specific way for it to hit Cody's head. However, Cody did not end up in that picture-perfect position for it to go that way.
It wrapped around and cut the other side of his head.
And I'll admit, it was a bit unnerving after that initial pop where everybody was like, oh shit, it actually did a thing, and it got quiet for a minute. I'll admit, that was a little scary. But honestly, now that we've had like a week's distance from it, and we've had all the press and stuff surrounding it, and everybody and their fucking dog has chimed in on whether or not it was a good idea or not, I am sick of this discussion. I am tired of it. And also, I feel like Cody pretty much shut it down the next fucking day when he tweeted a picture of himself backstage saying, yeah, I got 10 staples and then I kept on working the entire night.
Yeah, he didn't have
if Cody Rhodes is not over as fuck to you after that tweet, I don't know what's going to do it. Like, regardless of what physical damage this might have done to him, as a character, Cody is now over as fuck in my mind. Actually, forget over as fuck. He is my outright favorite wrestler after this show, because that made him look like such a damn badass.
Yep. And he didn't have any concussion symptoms. He only had a cut.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of wrestling, yeah, it's a pretty big cut, but like, honestly, I think in a year's time, we're going to look back at this whole thing and go like, damn, that was good.
Mm-hmm. And also, it helps continue to send that message of this is not WWE's PG product. We are moving to a more hardcore, more wrestling fans type of wrestling.
Yep. And it also plays into the foreshadowing with Sean Spears, because he's pissed that he's only at WWE to kind of do the same thing he was doing at WWE. Fuck that. He wants to be a main event player.
Mm-hmm.
And part also, of that was Cody Rhodes mentioned, oh, he's a good hand. And that's one of the first things Sean Spears tweeted after this whole thing, was just that one soundbite of Cody Rhodes saying he's a good hand over and over again. And so it's
also
like,
just like, Cody, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to put me in this position, but then you're going to go wrestle this guy who's practically half your age and almost kill yourself? Fuck you.
Yeah. It's especially because it's like, I think everybody just immediately freaked out because, oh my god, headshot, and didn't follow up.
But like, these two guys have been in, we forget because they never really got their big moments in WWE, but these two guys have been in this business forever. They know what the fuck they're doing.
They've been at the same company for years. Because Sean Spears has been in WWE since 2010.
Yeah, and even with the fact that they fucked up this taken into account, they still fucked it up in a way that was way less bad than it could have been, dude.
Right. Imagine if Cody was looking up a little bit and it got his nose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's 10 staples, but like, it could have been a lot worse.
Imagine if like the metal on the chair was just slightly twisted out of place, and they took a chunk of flesh off his face.
Yeah. Like, it is bad, but it's not, like, horrible.
Mm-hmm. And I know to some people that's no argument. I know that's just going to piss some more people off. Like, well, bad at all is bad enough. You shouldn't do it if it's going to possibly be bad at all. But to those people, I also say, like, don't you defend wrestling to your friends by saying, like, yeah, it's a fake story, but it's still real stunts.
Yeah, and here's another thing. That chair shot can be used in kayfabe to add, like, yeah, no, we're going to eliminate that kind of stuff and add more credence to the sportsman-like mentality.
Yeah, like, that was my first thought after it got real quiet and they had to, like, sort of guide Cody backstage, was like, oh, in kayfabe, this is going to be amazing because, like, as soon as they're able to get a promo together, like, just cutting back and forth, like, imagine when we get the promo that's, like, Brandy and Dustin talking about how pissed they are at Sean about this.
Yeah. But, like, also we could just add more credence of, like, oh, no, like, the headshot, like, there's so many things they can play with it. It's a bad situation, but, like, wrestling thrives on bad situations.
Exactly.
But enough about that, because the next match is a 6-man tag match, 3 versus 3. I think it was Tornado Rules?
Possibly.
Or was it...
I think it was just regular rules, and, like, okay, say what the match is, real quick, so I can talk about a thing.
The Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid versus the Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Okay. I loved this match. I did not like the commentary on this match. The commentary on this match really annoyed me because it was both Jim Ross being out of touch and the other announcers playing too much on the fact that Jim Ross is out of touch. Like, they're constantly making jokes of, like, Jim Ross is an old man. He doesn't know what video games are. And then also there's a point where, because Ross has lost interest in the match, he literally says, who's the legal man? Who knows? Who cares? Why the fuck would you say that on a show for a company that you're still trying to get over?
Yeah. I didn't... No, I don't think I minded it just because I was into the match. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, that's a valid complaint. That's a very valid complaint.
Like, the thing is, like, I think this was a great match. I loved everything about this match except the commentary. Whenever they would pipe up, I would just kind of wince.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, really fun time, and it's where the whole Fyter Fest storyline starts to culminate with Kenny. All throughout this show, we've been getting these backstage segments of, like, Kenny running around trying to save Fyter Fest of, like, oh no, I've gotten way too in over my head and I can't make this happen. Coldplay pulled out, Blink-182 pulled out, Robert Downey Jr. is not going to show up. I've got to run around, I got to set up this. But don't worry, Young Bucks, you're going to get your gear. You guys are going to get your gear and it's going to be amazing. And don't worry about my gear. My gear will definitely show up. And the Young Bucks do get their gear. They come out because it's a fighting games tournament. They come out dressed up like Ken and Ryu from their Fighter of the Streets. And it's very cool. And then Kenny Omega gets it's kind of weirdly cut for the stream, but it's clear that he did something cool at the actual show appearing. But he shows up dressed as Akuma, but it's his regular gear and he just has some paint on. And it's very obvious that he was supposed to get actual Akuma-themed gear, but it didn't get there in time. And, like, you could say, like, oh, it sucks that we're never going to get to see that gear now, but also, like, it's so on brand for Fyter Fest that I'm fine with it. And this is another thing of, like, and I'm mainly talking about Brian Zane here because I did watch Brian Zane's review for Fyter Fest. He was talking about, like, oh, why would you brand a pay-per-view after a failed event? Why would you make a parody of Fyter Fest so far after Fyter Fest has happened? That was all months ago, and it's a brand new company you're trying to get over. Why would you theme it after a failed thing? That's
I
just
can understand.
Kenny's
I can
brand
understand
of
his logic. I can understand his logic behind it.
Yeah, but also, like, that's just Kenny's brand of comedy. And if you're not going to gel with it, I hate to say this to Brian frickin' Zane, but maybe you shouldn't watch that much more AEW, because I feel like this shit is going to crop up some more.
I think it's more. I think he's coming at it more from. I want him to do goofy shit. If he did this 5 years into AEW, he'd be much better with it. I think it's more. You're trying to get this started. You're trying to get people interested, and making it seem like it's already failing. It's just going to make people think, "Oh, why should I put attention into it?"
That's fair.
People who don't know Kenny Omega.
I feel like for Kenny's character, especially when they're trying to blend his New Japan character with his being the Elite character, because they are two very different characters.
And his DDT character.
Yeah, they're trying to blend all that shit together for AEW. I feel like this show did a really good job at that because of this match and a thing that happens a little later on that we'll talk about.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say you're wrong or he's wrong. I'm just saying he's coming at it from a business point of view. You're coming at it from a character point of view.
Yeah.
From a character point of view, you're right. This is hilarious and great and wonderful. From a business point of view, he's just worried that people who aren't in on the joke won't get the joke and then think it is a joke.
That's true.
You know? And I think, honestly, it's okay because it's so far away from the TV show and it's such a test period and it's only pretty much diehard fans of it so far who are going to be watching it. This isn't for the general public yet. I think it's okay. He was just more raising maybe you shouldn't do this quite so often. Like, and they're not.
Yeah. I feel like when we actually get to TV, stuff like this is just going to be one storyline at a time. Like, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 storylines going on at any one given time in AEW, and a goofy thing will be one of those storylines. It will not be like it is right now, where here's 2 goofy storylines out of 8.
And I've also seen some interviews saying, like, oh yeah, they are planning on having storylines that begin and work their way through television. Because they're only planning like 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year.
Yeah.
So there's going to be storylines in between, and those could be storylines perfect for TV. But the Elite versus Lucha Brothers, it was a fun, big, jumpy, flippy match full of strikes.
That freaking Hadouken spot, dude.
I saw some people complaining about it.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Here's the thing. They didn't actually watch it because it was like from the Jim Cornette podcast, and the co-host said like, oh yeah, they fired invisible energy shots and they all fell down. And it's like, no.
Oh my God.
That's a Kenny Omega staple. It's a modified dual palm strike. It's not an invisible thing. He's punching them with his hands in the shape of a Hadouken.
Like, I like and respect Jim Cornette, but I am so sick of people just blindly listening to whatever the fuck he says and taking his opinion as gospel.
Here's the thing. It was his co-host. It wasn't Jim.
Okay.
It was because Jim was asking, what about the rest of this thing? And his co-host went like, yeah, they fired invisible shots. And then just to get like the rise out of Jim Cornette. When if he explained it, oh yeah, no, it's just part of Kenny's move. It's a video game reference. It's a dual palm strike. He would have been like, I don't get it. Video games make it look a little silly, but whatever. It's a real move. You know, it's trying to paint them as dumb when it's not. It's so bad.
Well, whoever that guy was, fuck him.
Yep, but the Elite win, and they pose like the fighting game characters when they win in the games. It was great.
Yeah. Also, I do dig that the announcer guy. Every review has said this, but I do dig that the announcer guy was like, round 1, fight.
Oh yeah, that was perfect. It was a nice little cap off because technically this is the main event of the card.
Mm-hmm. They bring out announcer guy one more time, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, fucking Fighter Fest is over. Go home if you're gay. Stay if you're ready to play, because here comes an unsanctioned death match."
They turn off the lights.
Also, I meant no disrespect to homosexuals. I just said that because it rhymes.
But then we have a non-sanctioned match, basically meaning there's no rules, only a referee to count the three with Joey Janela versus Jon Moxley, the bad boy and the fuck you up man.
Oh my god, this match, dude, I fucking like, I know there's people who are saying like, oh, this is just a basic death match to get us back into the Jon Moxley death match character. I don't care if it was a basic death match. It was a flawlessly executed death match.
Oh yeah.
Fucking beautiful performance on the part of both guys. Like, Jon Moxley, his body language is so on. Not since The Rock have I seen somebody with such perfect body language for his character. The way he moves,
tenses his muscles.
And just the way he walks around and sort of flails his arms about. And like, when he got that "you sick fuck" chant and then bowed to the crowd, that was amazing. Fucking kissing the camera as he comes down to the ring. Oh, I love this man. He's the new best guy.
And even when he's like in pain, the way he's just writhing around is just so indicative of his character, because like they both get put into barbed wire like planks, like just planks filled with barbed wire. And the way they each like play with the pain is interesting, because Joey Janela, he's screaming like a madman. It's like, fuck! Like he forgot how much this hurts.
Mm-hmm. But Moxley's got this look of like, damn, and it's
like he's been waiting years for this again. Like it's an addiction.
It's like, I've been numb all this fucking time in WWE, and now I can feel again. That's what his body language says to me.
Oh yeah, and like, oh man, he pulls out the bucket with a bag full of thumbtacks. He pours it out. He then grabs Joey Janela, takes off his shoes and his socks.
He's like, I'm making sure this shit goes down.
And Joey Janela's like, kind of cat and toast for the first one, and then he wakes up for the second one. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he looks up a little bit more over his body and sees the thumbtacks, and it's like, fuck, dude, no. Yeah.
And the spot where I forget what the move is called, but where he throws them both back onto the thumbtacks, and then Moxley sits up and spits out a thumbtack. That shit was amazing.
Part of me wants to believe he knew that would be a beautiful visual, so he planted one in his mouth when he fell, and he was getting himself back up.
And Janela taking a spot onto a setup table, the way he sold that was so great.
This was just solid, great, beautiful.
And I know I'm basically listing off every spot at this point, but the fucking table spots were amazing.
Oh, yes. It's fantastic, beautiful, wonderful. The little character details, like Moxley pulling out the chair, and there's still like one of the bandages from his hands still on it, and he pulls it off. And like the commentary's going like, "What the fuck was that?" And it's like, "Oh, that was when he was wrapping it."
Yeah, that's what Excalibur says. When I saw it, I first assumed like, "Oh, that's just leftovers from the last guy he hit with that chair."
But like, just so much. It's great. It would have been like, there's some parts of me that goes like, oh man, it would have been cool to go like even a little bit further, like the light bulb spots that people have done. Mm-hmm. But you know what? For the first hardcore deathmatchy kind of thing in AEW, perfect. Mm-hmm. It's a good.
Which, by the way, a lot of people have been saying like, oh, this is the only deathmatch where we're going to see out of them because Khan said they're not doing that on TV. You people didn't watch the interview. He said they're not doing that on TV, but it will crop up from time to time on pay-per-views. So
yeah, and that's what he's been saying.
This is still a taste of what is to come. Like, go ahead.
That's what he's been saying. He's been saying like, yeah, the TV product's not going to be as raunchy. It's not going to be swearing all the time. We're not going to be that bad. It's going to be a regular TV product. But the pay-per-views are where we're going to let loose. It's where we're going to play with this stuff.
Exactly.
Which, you know what? I'm glad, because that means that Joey Janela is not putting himself through this kind of shit week in, week out. Neither is Darby Allin. Neither is Jon Moxley.
It means these guys will probably be around for a bit, unlike McFoley, who fucking killed himself before he even got to the main roster of WWE, and then only got a handful of amazing matches where he almost killed himself in WWE.
Yep. But like, part of me also kind of hopes that he has like one last match left in him, and it's all smoke and mirrors with Jon Moxley. Oh man. Because that was what it was going to be his story coming up to the main roster in WWE. It was going to be like one final match with Mick Foley, with Dean Ambrose coming up to him and going like, yo, you hurt and disabled hundreds of wrestlers because they wanted to be like you.
My turn.
But like, this whole thing was great. Joey Janela had some beautiful faces. The perfect moment. Jon Moxley having Joey Janela both feet bare, and he just slams him into the thumbtacks, and then Joey Janela falls, and you see like a group of 5 right on his heel, stuck to wash. And like the second that happened, my foot started to hurt, and I wheeled it up, and I was like, "Ow!"
Anyone who's like big into the Lesnar face meme needs to watch this match, because there are some great pseudo Lesnar faces in this match.
But man, then the match ends. Jon Moxley wins. Give him some big ups. He's probably going to be some big ups, dude. But then who decides to run down but Kenneth Omega?
Yep. Kenny, this is where I finally got where they were going with the Fyter Fest storyline of trying to combine all these different characters Kenny has had together. Because Kenny Omega is a badass dude. Everybody who's watched Kenny Omega wrestle knows that he is like one of the biggest badasses around today. But on Being the Elite, he's a fucking goofball. He is the big dummy boy who's the butt of all the jokes.
He's a golden retriever.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point. And here, what they've done with the Fyter Fest storyline is they showed his Being the Elite side getting all excited, all hyped up over, we've got a company now. I can put on my own show. I can do this big, cool, fun time for everybody. And then it fucks up. And it fucks up. And it keeps fucking up. And the other side of his character keeps getting pissed off. And more pissed off. And starts going, maybe you should just start hitting things, bro. Maybe that's how we fix this. Maybe we just get mad. Maybe we just look at these guys out here who are putting on a way better show than you just did. Look at these fucking deathmatch assholes. Remember how that deathmatch asshole beat you up a few weeks ago? Let's go beat him up. Yeah. And that's what has happened now, is Kenny has gotten so frustrated over Fyter Fest that, while he would normally let live with the Moxley shit, everything has kind of come down on him, and he's taking it out on Moxley. And during this whole beatdown, Moxley just has this space of like, finally, this is exactly what I wanted.
Oh, and like, to play into that, there was a moment in Kenny Omega's fucking match with Lucha Bros, Young Bucks, and Laredo Kid, where there's just one moment Kenny's sat down, like doing a kneel, fist on the ground, and then the crowd and the Bucks just start going dun 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 dun, because he's like, that's part of his cleaner style character, is being a Terminator.
Yep.
And then like that plays into it, is like, no, he's just going into it now. That's I'm pretty sure that's in the match when he started like kicking so much ass.
Mm-hmm. And like after the match, he got in, I forget which one it is. Pentagon. He got in Pentagon's face and was like, I want a fucking singles match with you again, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, Pentagon's gonna be so fucking big in AEW if they sign with them permanently.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're doing a good couple of American things. They've been on Impact, they've been on MLW, they do all that kind of stuff.
And they seem like a bunch of good boys who do good spots.
Oh yeah. Pentagon's great. But that was Fyter Fest. Better or worse than Double or Nothing?
Not better than Double or Nothing, but it's only like a half step down, in my opinion. I know that's kind of like the controversial thing to say, because a lot of people were like, oh, it was so shit until the last couple matches. But honestly, I enjoyed everything just on different levels.
Yeah, Double or Nothing was top tier. This was a little bit below, but here's the thing. Double or Nothing was kind of billed as like one of their like main four, like their SummerSlam, their Royal Rumble, their Survivor Series.
Double or Nothing was the big "we have arrived" pay-per-view. This is the "we need to have a show this month" live stream.
Yeah, this was a B show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like an A show because that's all they have so far, but it's a B show. It's their stomping grounds.
I would almost say it's more their fast lane because they've talked about like we might do this again in the future.
Yeah,
like not specifically Fyter Fest, but a show in conjunction with CEO every year might be a thing.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Fyter Fest was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I'd say a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8.
I'd say 7.5.
Yeah.
But next is we're going to be talking about. We're talking about the only good parts of WWE.
Yeah, just the pickings, just the cherry slim pickin' dickin' rickins.
Yep. Because we just don't want to deal with most of it, so we don't.
Why would you watch the main roster? It's the main roster. It's like the normie shit.
I will say, this past week of WWE Raw, once supposedly Paul Heyman has now taken over as creative control.
And he's not taken over yet. He's just the McMahon buffer at this point. He will take over after Extreme Rules.
Yeah, but from what I've heard, it was better, and some of the clips have been interesting.
Indeed.
Like
better is not good for us. Better.
Yeah, no, it's going from an F to a D.
We need a fucking B+ at the least.
I would even take a C+. Not to watch it every week, but if like something interesting happens, I'll be more inclined to watch.
I'll admit, there have been a couple things I've been tempted to watch, but I'm not a cheap bitch, so
okay, real quick, we'll just talk about it because it's not on the list. The Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe promo off.
Yeah, and fucking AJ Styles reforming the club.
And Braun Strowman pushing Bobby Lashley through the LEDs and all the pyro. Like, what the fuck? We have pyro?
Yeah. And what's his name? Ricochet getting put over as a possible main eventer. Because according to backstage sources, WWE is going to get rid of the PG era in order to appeal to teenagers because they're worried about losing that market to AEW, which is fucking hilarious to me because that shows that they don't actually understand what AEW is going for because AEW is pitching itself as we are the wrestling fans' wrestling company.
Yeah. Also, apparently Paul Heyman's really high on Ricochet. He really thinks he's really good.
Yeah.
And
also, the Street Profits were on Raw for some reason.
Yeah. And what was something else that was interesting? Oh, yeah, the Firefly Funhouse, kind of all the shit going on with that.
But you don't need to watch. There's nothing you need to watch for that. It's just screen caps on Reddit.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, there's interesting bits, but I don't want to find the one good piece of corn in a pile of shit.
Exactly.
And the 24/7 belt, but that's mostly social media.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all the main roster stuff we cared about. Oh yeah, Corey Graves had an uncensored holy shit.
Hooray!
It's interesting, at least. It's like, oh wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
There was a bit of cilantro in this piece of shit. I fucking love that metaphor. Do we want to talk about the thing? Do we want to talk about TakeOver 25 first or last, like we did Fyter Fest?
Well, I put things in chronological order, and all the NXT stuff that is on here that's not 25 happened after 25, so it might be a bit confusing if we don't talk about.
Yeah, let's just talk about 25 first. I was trying to like make it flow, but you know what? It flows nice this way too. It's just
you were trying to make it wrestle flow, huh?
Hey! You know he's like officially a member of like the NXT marketing team or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's why I put him on the card.
Good for him. He was a good YouTube boy, and now he's a good WWE boy. I'm proud of him.
There was a whole video that came out a couple days ago about how we're talking about Josiah Williams, by the way, the guy who did the Undisputed Era rap.
He did the Undisputed Era rap, and he also did like several others. He did he done some big ones.
His Kane one came on my music playlist while I was mowing the lawn today, and it is pretty solid.
Yeah. Like, basically he takes a wrestler's theme and does a dope little rap about him on it. And that's relevant because in TakeOver 25, he did that for the main event, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about TakeOver 25. First match on the main card, because I didn't really watch the pre-show, because I didn't think about watching the pre-show.
TakeOvers don't have pre-shows. They tape the next week of NXT as the pre-show.
Yeah. Was Roderick Strong versus Matt Riddle in a just fucking who can fuck up the other person's back faster.
You know, I had completely forgotten about this match for the last couple weeks till now, but yeah, that was a fucking good match of those guys just trying to get one or the other to submit.
And it's just really good. It like, because I hate to say this, even as a wrestling fan, you tend to think of MMA as a little bit more legit than a wrestler. It's just because even though you acknowledge professional wrestling as awesome, there's still something about the fact that, oh no, this guy was in shoot fights and won, that makes you go like, shit, that guy's a badass.
See, I don't have that because I've never watched MMA at all in my entire life, and I'm one of those people where I have coworkers who will come up to me sometimes and go, Simeon, did you watch the fights last night? And I'm like, no, get away from me, weirdo.
But there's you can understand that Brock Lesnar's legit. You can see that Matt Riddle is legit. He can kick your ass.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar is legit to me in the same way The Undertaker is legit to me. He looks like if I said anything remotely off-putting to that guy, he would kill me. Like, no joke, he would kill. Like, even though The Undertaker is a quote-unquote fake fighter, The Undertaker is still a big enough guy that he could kill my dumpy ass.
Oh yeah, especially because he's a Texan and probably has several guns.
Mm-hmm.
But Roderick Strong looked really strong in defeat because Matt Riddle won. Just a bunch of backbreakers because he's the messiah of the backbreaker.
Indeed.
And Matt Riddle just stretching him. It was a really good, solid match. And part of me I haven't been keeping up with NXT just because it's the Doctor Who syndrome. I just got burned out on the entirety of it, so I just don't care about any of it.
Mm-hmm. See, I keep up on it just because it had been my obligatory Wednesday night. I'm hopping on the computer and and checking on all my shit, so I need something on in the background watch. But this week, because I became a smart boy and I figured out my Blu-ray player had a USB port on it, so I could just put shit files on a USB drive and watch them on my actual TV instead of having to sit at my desktop. So I was a naughty boy and downloaded NXT onto a USB drive this week and watched it on my actual TV.
Nice. But it was a good, solid match. Solid.
Yeah.
It was a good 4 out of 5. It did exactly what it needed to be. But the next match is for the vacant tag team champions because for some reason the War Raiders disappeared for no good reason.
Yeah,
I mean, there's this other team. There's this other team that kind of looks like them, but they're not them. They're called the Viking Raiders.
Honestly, like the War Raiders are probably like the saddest fucking victims of the snap. It sucks that there wasn't even, like, I went and saw the new release for Endgame this week. They didn't put in a post-credit scene of the War Raiders coming back, so I guess Hulk just didn't remember to bring them back. They're gone forever now from the MCU.
But the War Raiders had to vacate their NXT Tag Team Champions, so we now have a ladder match with the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, the Forgotten Sons, Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch as a tag team, and the Street Profits, Angelo Marcus and Montez Ford.
What a beautiful mess of a match.
As all ladder matches should be.
Mm-hmm. Just constant spots of dudes piling on each other, jumping on each other, throwing ladders at each other, huge beatdowns, and fucking just shit everywhere. I love it.
When the third member of the Forgotten Sons came out and the rest of the tag teams just had one ladder and just went bam, 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 bam,
it's
bam,
so
bam,
good.
bam.
Also, Chris, real quick, passion fruit or mango?
I don't think I like either of them.
Just pick one. Just pick one.
Mango.
Okay, I'm having the mango margarita. For drink of the night, here we go.
Mango night.
What's the thing Baron's Mango Lock Seat says?
I don't remember.
Fight of Hammer. I am the Fight of Hammer.
But at the end of the day, the Street Profits won with a beautiful maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
One of the Forgotten Sons is climbing up the ladder. Is it Montez Ford?
Yeah, he just fucking hopped up to like halfway up the ladder.
Yeah, he just hopped off the ring ropes onto the ladder. He was like, hey, punched the guy. The guy falls off. He climbed up and just got the tag team belts. And Street Profits, one of the longer running tag teams in NXT, are now tag team champions. And
they went and celebrated in the crowd like total bros. And did you catch that backstage segment that I can't remember if it was online or the next week, but there was a backstage segment where they went like right after the match, they come backstage and there's all these quote unquote reporters there to interview them. And they're like, yo, it's cool that you guys want to ask us questions, but this guy over here, and they point at the guy who's filming for the Performance Center. This guy over here is the reason the Street Profits are over right now. He filmed all of our promos. He made us look so good on NXT TV. All those pre-tape promos where you see us hanging around the city talking about how cool we are, they're only great because he was there helping us. These championships are as much ours as they are his, or they are as much his as they are ours. I'm a little drunk right now. And why the fuck are you wearing a Matt Riddle shirt? Let's go to the merch stand right now and get you a Street Profits shirt.
Yeah, it's a feel good
as fuck.
It's feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have new tag team champions. Really good, solid ladder match. It was chaos.
Mm-hmm.
The next match for the NXT North American Championship featured a returning Tyler Breeze back in his Prince Pretty role at NXT on a permanent basis. He has escaped the main roster.
He's now got that Cassius Ono status of like, yeah, you're just NXT for life. You're just going to guide the young guys and do cool shit.
Honestly, I think I would appreciate him being on the main roster if Vince wasn't in control.
Yeah, so basically when Vince dies is when he'll next get called up.
Yeah. Or if like Eric Bischoff or Paul Heyman really like him and they're in more total creative control.
Given that a few months before we actually are able to determine how much control they have.
But he was going up against Velveteen Dream, who is the current champion. And boy, the best way to sum up this match is shut up. Both of you are pretty.
These guys are fucking made to go against each other. Their fucking styles just mix so beautifully. There was so much characterful stuff in this, so many great spots of them trying to show off to the crowd and then the other getting the advantage of them and then reversing that and going back and forth and using each other's gimmicks so perfectly. Like, my God, do I love these two fake gay boys so much.
Yeah. And also, Tyler Breeze's gear looks 10 times better without the furry shit.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a model now. He doesn't look like a fake model. He looks like a real model.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's still got the furry shit. It's just his vest is all black now, so it's not so apparent.
But here's the thing. That he takes off that furry shit. I'm talking about the furry shit around his feet. Because that's gone now, and it's just like, oh no, he's just wearing tights and boots, and it like he looks slick. He looks like a male model. Not like a fake male model on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which is great. But sadly, Tyler Breeze did not acquire the championship. Velveteen Dream retained.
But there was a great spot there at the end of the match where the crowd literally started yelling at Breeze, take a selfie with the champ. And then they did that. Great little moment of respect / passing the torch. This is going to go down in the books as one of the best matches in NXT. I guarantee it.
Velveteen Dream is just building up a resume, man.
Mm-hmm.
Building that resume. The next match, Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship.
I didn't hate this match like I've hated previous Shayna matches, but it was just okay. Like, we've gone from insufferable to okay, which is a step up, but at the same time, I'm like, can we just get this belt off of Shayna, please? Because Shayna did retain, but Io did actually get some stuff to do in this. It wasn't just the Shayna show with the poor Japanese lady getting the shit beat out of her. Candice there was a cool moment where the cronies came, like, I know they have names, I'm sorry. The cronies came out.
Maria Shafir is one of them, and I can't remember.
Jessamine Duke, that's the other one.
Yeah, Jessamine Duke, Maria Shafir.
Okay.
One of them came out and tried Roderick Strong.
Yes. They came out and tried to interfere, and then Candice LeRae, who recently became friends with Io Shirai, was like, no the fuck you don't, and beat the shit out of them. Which was a great moment for Candice, because Candice is kind of the, I would say she's like the heartthrob of NXT at this point. She is everybody's favorite girl who doesn't get enough to do. But
she also has some big mom energy in protecting friends.
Yeah, and she basically made it so Io could finish the match. Unfortunately, the way Io finished the match was the way every fucking Shayna match ends, with her doing her stupid knockout, grapple, clutch fan. There's an official word for it. I can't think of it.
It's a coquina clutch.
Yeah, she does that, and Io passes out for like 2 seconds, and match over. So
yeah, but at least this is leading to some interesting character things for Io Shirai.
Yeah, because right after that, Io went and got her, like, saying she beat the shit out of Shayna with a kendo stick, and then she jumped onto Shayna with a chair, which was badass. I wish that was part of the actual match.
Yep. But next match is for the NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, baby.
With fucking Josiah Williams.
Yeah, he comes out, little hype man.
And let me just say, like, I usually have to watch takeovers and pay-per-views in general the next day because I work overnights Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But by a nice little chance fucking happenstance, I had the Saturday off this week of TakeOver, and I got to watch it live with a live stream, but I found out like only a few hours before TakeOver was happening that I would have the night off, so that's why I didn't like ring you up and be like, hey mate, you want to watch TakeOver? I don't know why I have a British accent in that.
Yeah, especially because it's not a UK TakeOver.
Yeah. But I watched it in a Rabbit live stream, and let me just say, watching this match specifically with a chat was so much fun because fucking the shock to the system happens, and of course everybody spams that in the chat right when it happens. But then Josiah Williams starts rapping, and half the chat is like, wait, what the fuck? Who is this? And then the other half is like, oh my god, it's the fucking YouTube guy. And that was so fun.
Oh yeah, and like it really fit, especially with the way they acted, because Adam Cole was like, "Yeah, I know I'm hot shit," and the other guy's just going like, "Look at this guy, he's hot shit."
Yeah, like just all you don't really know how good of a performer Josiah Williams is going into this, because like if you've already seen his stuff, because in his videos it's all pre-edited, his videos are very polished, very well done. It's clearly a lot of takes and stuff gone into making it the best thing it can possibly be. But this was him doing it live, and he did not flub at all. He did this rap perfectly. He was fucking hopping around and dancing and screaming his little lungs out like crazy. And he just looked so good, especially the bit after the actual rap finishes and Cole's in the ring just posing. And Josiah is just hopping around Cole, just going, wrestle flow, wrestle flow, wrestle flow. And I'm like, oh my God. I hope this happens more.
Just that hopping around and makes Adam Cole just look like hot shit.
Yeah.
He can hire a dude just to hop around and sing his praises.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Captain Gargano show up.
Yep.
And Captain Marvel gear.
Which again, fun reason to be watching a chat is you can tell exactly what kind of people some of the people in the chat are, because some people start going like, "Oh, he chose the worst possible outcome for the gear. I hope he loses now." And other people are like, "Oh, hey, Captain Marvel gear."
Yeah. It looked really good. It looked fucking top-notch gear.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought it looked better than his Iron Man gear.
Yeah, because here's the thing: Iron Man only looks cool because he's kind of chunky.
Mm-hmm.
Make him slick, it doesn't work. That's why other superheroes tend to work better, because their costumes are already slick and slim.
Mm-hmm.
But bomb-ass little match.
Really nice, kind of building things up, very slowly ramping up the action. And like, I'll be honest, I was a little out of it for the first half of the match, just because it was very slow until a certain point. But once it picked up, it really picked up. And again, another great thing about watching this with a chat, a bunch of people live reacting, was a lot of people in the chat started theorizing like, oh, hey, this storyline these last few weeks has been a big push for the Undisputed Era. And all the other Undisputed Era guys have lost their matches. And, oh, look, they're doing a spot where Cole is trying to call them to come help him, and Johnny is waiting outside the ring with a chair, but they don't come. They're not going to help him. They've abandoned Adam. Oh, shit. Adam's going to lose. Adam's going to lose and get called up, and he's not going to be part of the Undisputed Era anymore. He's going to go to the main roster and get buried. Oh, no, this is the worst thing ever. And then he has a fucking huge comeback and wins. Adam Cole is your new NXT championship, and the chat popped so hard for it.
Yeah. Shame that like Gargano didn't have a super long run.
I would have liked to see him last for at least another 2 or 3 takeovers, but like, I get why they did it the way they did it. Really good storyline, and it keeps what's his name, Cole, safe from being called up for another few months.
Oh yeah, and it really builds, because it seems like Johnny Gargano is the face, not like the face as in he's the poster boy. He's the good guy of NXT. He is the good guy of NXT. And right now, they're trying to build the Rogues Gallery. So you have Ciampa, his Joker, but now you have his Riddler.
Yeah.
It's another really good person to just go up against this kind of guy, and it's nice. It's good.
And to make a comparison to the main roster, a really good thing they did in building this feud was like the whole 2 out of 3 falls match that happened at the last takeover, where like Adam's whole thing demanding this rematch has been like, I had you. I got the first fall. You were done. The only reason you won was because it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. If it had been a regular singles match, I would have won. And the main roster right now, I don't know how up you're keeping on their production stuff, but they're now doing every match as a 2 out of 3 falls match, so they don't have wrestling during the commercials.
Yeah, I've been saying that.
They're doing jack shit with that. So, there's a point for NXT over the main roster again. Just like, we did a 2 out of 3 falls match. We haven't done another one since, and we built a huge story out of it.
Yeah. You can say that about like 90% of NXT, though.
Mm-hmm.
But that was NXT TakeOver. And speaking of Josiah Williams, who came out, he's now officially a member of WWE stuff.
Yeah,
he does stuff.
He is the head of content creation at WWE Performance Center, which I guess just means he's in charge of their YouTube. Like, they did a whole video on him a couple days ago, basically talking about his journey to WWE, where he started off as just like a boy fresh out of college doing some minor political jobs, helping working on campaigns and stuff. And he did the YouTube thing on the side because he likes wrestling. And then Adam Cole and Triple H both saw that first video of his, the Undisputed Era rap, and Triple H was like, I am hiring this motherfucker. And he's been at the Performance Center for a good while now, but only just now have they actually used him in something, because Triple H is a smart boy and he only uses people when there's an actual reason to use them in a story.
Right. But I imagine he's the reason why the Performance Center YouTube channel is just like so good.
Mm-hmm. He's probably also like the director of a lot of promos and stuff. I would
imagine he'd be part of it, at least the online stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had some repackaging in NXT. Specifically, you wrote down Punishment Martinez is now Damian Priest.
Yeah, this was one they were pushing really hard because they debuted him as Punishment Martinez, and guess they thought he wasn't getting over enough. So now he's been repackaged as this weird, sexy, kind of aloof Chris Angel mind freak guy called Damian Priest. And a lot of people aren't super into it because they're like, oh, Punishment Martinez is such a more badass name. Damian Priest sounds like a Vegas sideshow. It's so cheap and cheesy, but like, you got to think Triple H is also trying to compensate for this guy is going to end up on main roster TV at some point. And so the name Punishment Martinez isn't exactly something Vince can market to a PG demographic. Granted, they aren't going for the PG demographic anymore, but that only just happened this week.
Right. Honestly, I like the name Damian Priest. It's not a bad name.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of cool, actually. I would buy an action figure of a dude named Damian Priest if he was also a cool character, which he has had a match since this repackaging happened, and he did prove himself to be pretty cool in the ring, but he's not had a proper storyline yet. So I have yet to decide whether or not I think it's a cool character.
Honestly, it feels a little bit like a DC character's name.
Yeah, it's up there with like John Constantine and Zatanna and Dr. Fate. It's that DC B league of mystical characters.
Yeah, it feels like that. But Dream, Riddle, Breeze are downing Undisputed Era's dominance.
Yeah, there was a whole thing in the first real post-TakeOver episode, because, you know, they have their standard, we filmed this before we filmed TakeOver, but this is the NXT the week after TakeOver. And then also, this time around, there was an episode of them where they just stopped and did a house show on their way back from TakeOver and called that an episode of NXT. It was weird. But the first real episode of NXT back from this TakeOver, there was a whole segment where these three guys came out and were like, we're sick and tired of these same guys being in the main event scene. We want a shot at the title. Why does Undisputed Era always get all these fucking shots and stuff? What makes them so good? And they all come out and they're like, fuck you, 6-man match. And then they have that, and it is good.
Of course it's good. You have fucking Undisputed Era, Tyler Breeze, Matt Riddle, Velveteen Dream.
And it was also a nice bit of like storyline carrying on, because these are two guys who have feuded with Dream now teaming with him, showing that the hatchet is buried between these guys. They may have a match again in the future, but it's not going to be like a grudge thing. It's these guys all respect each other now.
Oh yeah, Dream is probably one of the best characters in NXT.
Agreed.
Like, Johnny Gargano's the Goku, Dream is the Vegeta. Goku's the main character, but everybody's more interested in Vegeta.
What does that make fucking Ciampa? Is he like Cell?
Ooh, yeah. A fan favorite, fuck this bastard kind of character that everybody kind of just goes like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Or no, is he Piccolo? Who's Piccolo?
No, he's Frieza.
He's
Ciampa's Frieza.
Okay.
The guy you like to see.
No DBZ, so.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of cool things. DBZ's great. But also they're doing a breakout tournament. A bunch of brand new signees are doing a tournament to show off their shit.
Well, brand new in air quotes. These guys have been at the Performance Center for a good while now, but now we've decided what their gimmicks are going to be. So let's get them all debuted real quick.
Yeah, it's just a cool little showcase.
Yeah, some cool guys have come out. Like last week, there was a. Oh god, I feel like such a shithead for forgetting their names, but there was a dude named Angel and another dude, and they were both really cool. And the dude who I wanted to win, which wasn't Angel, I can't remember his name now because I'm drunk. He did not win, but Angel is still a cool character, so I'm happy he won. They didn't do an installment of it this week. This week was a much more ongoing storyline heavy thing, but I'm assuming it's going to keep up for a good bit because the winner of this tournament will get a title match of their choosing, which to me says like they're going to be the next challenger for the North American belt. So
I mean, they are treating the North American title like super prestigious. It is to me, it's kind of at the level of NXT champion.
Yeah, it's the mid card belt, but we're treating it about as well as we treat the main event belt,
which is honestly what a mid card belt should be treated like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. Io Shirai is now turning bad gal.
Did you catch this shit?
Nope.
Okay, so last week on NXT, they did a big thing of like
NXT.
Yes, they did a big thing of like for the first time ever, the NXT Women's Championship will be defended inside of a steel cage live on NXT TV. Except it's not live since we pre-taped this shit weeks in advance, but. Fuck it, it's the first time ever. This is cool. Women's progressive, women's evolution, cool shit.
Stephanie McMahon wanted me to say this.
Yes. So they do that. Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler has fight. But the most interesting thing about this match is as Io Shirai is trying to climb the cage and get out, Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir come out trying to interfere once again. And they get about halfway up the cage before Candice comes out. She climbs up the cage, pushes one of them off, starts beating up the other, and then as Io is still halfway up the cage, she jumps over the top of the cage, starts beating up Shayna, and then fucking Io is like, oh, Candice is in trouble. I need to help Candice. I'm going to kick this one bitch off, and then I'm going to do a moonsault off the top of the cage into Shayna, and now I'm going to go for the door. She tries to go out the door, and then there's a big thing of like her and Shayna trying to pull the other one back and then crawl over them and pull the other one back and crawl over them. And then finally the match ends with Shayna doing her clutch thing, trying to knock Io out, and Io just punching the shit out of her, trying to knock her out, and Shayna gets knocked out, but when she gets knocked out, she is on top of Io and falls out the door before Io can go out. So technically, Shayna wins the match, and Shayna's just standing there in disbelief for a few minutes, and then when Candice comes up and tries to comfort her, go like, I'm sorry, I did all I could, Io just snaps and starts beating the shit out of Candice with her kendo stick. And then after Candice is down, she has this look on her face like, oh fuck, what have I done? I can't worry about this. I need to get out of here. I need to recoup and think about what I'm going to do next to get this championship. And fuck it, I don't need anyone. I just got to get this belt. So Io Shirai is now officially a heel in NXT. And I kind of like this, but at the same time, I'm also kind of on it because it does feel like a bit of a retread of the Johnny Gargano shit, except with Candice in Johnny's place. And I don't know how okay I am with that.
It's because honestly, the way you're describing it, because I didn't watch it, I'm gonna watch NXT. I have been removed enough from WWE that the stink of the main roster is gone from NXT. It's safe now.
Hooray!
But I've also seen people have snapped pics of her new ring gear. It looks choice. It looks tight.
I've not seen it because I'm not a spoiled boy.
But it sounds less like she's turned heel and turned more, I'm going to be a face for me and me alone.
She's done the Becky Lynch thing of I've not turned heel, I've turned a badass.
Yeah. And if that means no friends, that means no friends. But I definitely think it's less, I'm a bad guy, and more, I'm going to fuck you up, dudes.
Well, I suppose that would be okay. Though I do honestly, my prediction for the storyline at this point is fucking at the next takeover, Shayna's going to lose the belt to Io finally. And then there's going to be a feud between Io and Candice, and maybe Candice becomes the NXT Women's Champion. I don't know. But also Mia Yim is kind of in the championship conversation now after this week because she just won another match, this time against Aaliyah, and then she cut a promo immediately after to the announcer's desk of like, y'all better tell Shayna to watch her back because I'm coming to get that belt and whoop that ass. So, I don't know.
Here's what I would like to see happen. I would like to see Candice LeRae go up against Io Shirai and get the belt. Because we've seen, not Io Shirai, Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, Candice LeRae. Candice gets the belt. And Io Shirai just basically goes like, yo, we work together, but now you have the belt. I'm going after you. And Candice is like, okay, cool, friendly competition. It's like, no, Candice, I'm going after you. And like beatdowns. Like Mia Yim tries to get into the conversation. Io goes like, nope, and just decimates her. And it's just like, nope, I'm the only one here. Give me a shot. And she like just goes kind of like, fuck you to the whole thing and just wins the belt.
That could be pretty badass.
But, we have another heel to talk about because Adam Cole wants to celebrate.
Yes, he has gone on a quote-unquote celebration tour across the good old US of A, being like, hey, I want a belt. Look at me, I've got this belt. And kind of, it's just been a big excuse for him to rub it in Johnny's friends and family's face. The first installment of this was just like, I'm at some live events. Here's some footage of Adam Cole at live events because we can't get him on TV this week. But then this week on NXT, there was a bit where he goes into Gargano's pizzeria, the pizzeria that Johnny's parents run. And he's like, yes, I would like 4 pizzas for some hungry wrestlers, please. And they're just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing here, dude? But they go in the back and they get him his pizzas. And then he goes and puts a signed photo of himself up on their Hall of Fame, which is just photos of Johnny and Candice. And the message he put under his signature was, the champion you deserve.
Oh, that's fucking beautiful. That's perfect.
Yeah. And then he takes the pizzas from them. He slams down like a bunch of 50s and is like, keep the change, guys. Also, love the Hall of Fame. And then Johnny's dad just walks over takes his picture down and shakes hhis head. And then Adam goes to this wrestling school that Johnny was at in his hometown that I assume Johnny came up through. I don't really know the full story, but he was at it on WWE PC a few weeks ago when he was still champion. And he was like giving this inspiring speech and like letting people hold the belt and be like, look, if you keep working at this, if you keep being awesome, you can one day be NXT champion too. And Adam comes in with the pizzas and he's like, hey, I come in peace. I brought pizza. Also, fuck all of you guys. You're lame. You're never going to achieve your dreams. Look at you. You're a bunch of lard-ass nobodies. Go home, have a slice of pizza, cry, and don't ever try again. And then they're like, you need to get the fuck out of here, dude.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Yep. And that was pretty much that whole segment this week.
Yeah. This is Adam Cole, beautiful at being a slimy shitbag.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of slimy shitbags, the 24/7 title.
It's a good thing?
It's so weird because we now currently have R-Truth, the 28-time 24/7 title champion.
Man, he is going after Ric Flair's record so hard.
Yeah, but 24/7 titles don't count. But so far the story has been everybody's chasing after him to become the champion. And then Drake Maverick is having marital troubles and he wants to be champion and go on his honeymoon with it, which he is.
Yeah. But he did a whole thing of like right when this title got unveiled and R-Truth became the first champion. He did this whole thing on social media of like posting, going all around the arena, posting up these custom wanted signs for R-Truth. And apparently that really impressed Vince McMahon and the rest of WWE creative. And they were like, we need to give this guy a push. So now at his actual shoot wedding, there was a bit where he won the title right before the wedding and like took it to his bachelor party. His actual shoot bachelor party.
With EC3 and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and then at his
actual your best friends.
And then at his actual shoot wedding, as he's walking down the aisle after having kissed his bride, who fucking Matt Hardy cut a promo on his YouTube channel talking about how his wife introduced them and that's why he's at the wedding as a groomsman. Fucking,
yeah, because they were all at Impact at the same time.
Yep. R-Truth comes out of nowhere and pins this man on his wedding day, wins the championship, runs off, and then Maverick runs off of him saying, I'm sorry. And then the next night on Raw, he cuts a promo saying he intends to win back the real love of his life, the 24/7 championship.
It's beautiful. There's
what
also
is happening in WWE?
There was also a moment where, what's his name? Matt Hardy's son.
Yeah, Matt Hardy's son was very briefly, King Maxwell was very briefly a 24/7 champion. Because
here's the thing, Drake Maverick and King Maxwell are 0-1. Maxwell ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, like, oh. It just like they are doing some beautiful skits in this whole thing. Like Jinder Mahal pins R-Truth on getting on board of a plane, and he just runs into the plane. And then like several hours later, when everyone's asleep, R-Truth comes out of the bathroom, grabs a referee, and goes, shh, and he starts looking at under people's blankets, and they're going like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And
fucking
then he finally
Mojo just sleeping with his eyes wide open.
First thing first, I am so sorry, Mojo, you haven't been given anything to do. But second things, Mojo, thank you for doing everything you can to get your character across.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that was such a beautiful, like, oh, this is what Mojo Rawley is going for right now.
I really hope he gets more of a chance in the Heyman Bischoff era.
Oh, yeah. But he finds Jinder Mahal, and while Jinder is sleeping, he pins him 1, 2, 3 and becomes a champion again.
And then hides in the bathroom for the rest of the flight.
Oh man! Also, did you see what Drake Maverick put on the side plates for the 24/7 championship belt?
No, what did he do?
He made a sticker that says Maverick 24/7 and stuck it on there. And now I kind of want every person who becomes champion for like more than a day to get a sticker and put it on there.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, the side plates are just covered in stickers.
That would be great. Like, instead of plates, the WWE shop just sells sticker sets.
That'd be so cool. It's such a neat idea. And if it's just covered in stickers, that'd be fun.
Oh, man. Remember when we were all shitting on this belt?
I still don't like the design. The main plate can be better.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like here's the thing. Just add like a clock face.
That's fair.
Just make it look like Kamen Rider Zio's belt.
Yeah! You know what? That's what they should have done. They should have just bought a DX Geo driver.
Oh, man. But we've been talking about this and mentioning it every once in a while. We are technically now in a new era of WWE. Hopefully. Maybe not. We'll see it in 2 months' time.
Yeah, because Vince was never scared of TNA. He was never scared of fucking Ring of Honor. But oh boy, he's scared of AEW. That's a direct quote from Mr. Dave Meltzer. So he has brought back on the two dudes who almost put him out of business in the 90s. Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff are now the executive directors of,
which are brand new positions in the corporate structure of WWE,
which were unanimously they were voted on by the board of directors. Everybody in the board of directors said we want these fuckers in charge.
And Paul Heyman's in charge of Raw, Eric Bischoff's in charge of SmackDown, and there's some theorizing of why that is, but ultimately it's just what they are.
Yeah.
So far, Paul Heyman is officially working, but not in a complete total faculty sense. He's there. He's now part of the creative direction.
Well,
Eric
Paul
Bischoff
Heyman was already a character on screen on Raw, so it's very easy to just be like, now you're also doing this. But Eric Bischoff has been off doing other things for a good while. Like, his office currently is in London, England. So he's got to kind of shift some shit around before he can start touring again.
Like, he's moving to Connecticut. Which is where the headquarters for WWE is.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting. If this leads to Vince going, all right, I'm fucking off now in a more permanent situation.
Please, God, I hope so.
Also, people are wondering why wasn't Triple H picked for one of these positions, and like, my favorite, like, kind of, theory about it was they don't want to put Triple H in a position that he'll eventually overcome and become the main guy, and then they have to fill this role again. It's better to keep him at NXT so he can become Vince's position, and then Shawn Michaels can become the NXT guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, he's kind of already got this job. It's for NXT.
Yeah. But I'm interested, especially because we were talking about, oh yeah, Eric Bischoff's going to be on SmackDown because of the whole Fox deal. Which, that totally makes sense. He's good at dealing with big major networks and towing the line with that, when he did.
He was in charge of WCW for a good while.
Yeah. Paul Heyman is really good at coming up with a lot of ideas really quickly. So he's good for Raw that needs a lot of ideas.
Yeah, especially.
And plus, because he's really good at giving everybody a story, Raw can probably flex a little bit and have a lot more room to deal with stuff on Raw.
I mean, I'll say this, unless we get to Attitude Era level quality, I don't think I'm ever going to watch the main roster, all of it, every week again. Because it's just too much fucking wrestling for 1 week.
Yeah.
But if I hear quality starts majorly shooting up in the next month or two, I will start paying attention to the clips again. Because I'll be honest, since we started going on our whole like, fuck the main roster, we're done watching Vince's shit. All I have actually watched of the main roster is Firefly Funhouse. All the other information I have gleaned has been for Wrestle Talk. Like, I hardly have time for Who Wore It Better anymore at this point.
Yeah. Like, part of me feels like it's going to be a very much like how it was during the Monday Night War. You watch the show, then if you hear something, you go like, oh, maybe I should just tune in real quick.
Yeah.
But since they're not on the same night, it's going to be much more about, oh, I'm going to watch it when I want. So it's going to be a lot less, oh, I need to watch it, and it's much more like, sounds cool.
Yeah. It's going to be more like you have the show that you're following week to week, and then the other show, when you have some spare time on a week, you will put on that show as background noise while you do something around your house.
Yeah, but we say that like it's a weird bad thing. No, it's heating up.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is taking notice of AEW, and I think it's partially because no other wrestling thing that's tried to like bump up to WWE has had the financial backing and the broadcast backing that AEW already has.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing, is when AEW got announced and all those people made memes of like, oh, why are you excited about AEW and claiming like, oh, it's going to be this cool alternative to WWE that we've never had before with fucking TNA and Raw and all your local indie companies. Those companies don't have the production value and the fucking just world stage viewing ability that AEW has right out of the gate. Like, TNA is still on fucking Spike TV.
No, it's not.
Is it? What did it get moved to now?
It hasn't been on Spike TV in forever.
Oh shit! What is it on?
No.
Well,
it's on.
It's on Twitch. I just remembered. It's on Twitch.
It's on Twitch, but it's also on TV too.
Yeah. But like, who the fuck do you know that knows what channel TNA is on? Who do you know who knows what the fuck TNA is, let alone what channel it's on?
It's not even TNA anymore. It's Impact.
Yeah.
And it's Canadian now. It's not American. It used to be American.
And like, I'm going to sound like such an asshole saying this, but I had no idea Ring of Honor existed until I started watching WWE's documentaries about wrestlers of theirs who came up through Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Like, also Ring of Honor is just going through crap right now.
I bet so, because fucking Cody and the Bucks were like, let's put on a pay-per-view spot made by you guys, but is booked as an indie thing. And then they dumped their asses for Tony Khan.
Yeah, and just like, their booking has just been bad. Oh, Impact just signed a new television deal with AXS.
What the? What? What is that? I've never heard of that shit.
It's like a cable program.
That's not real. You're fake. You made that up.
No, it's a real thing.
No, you're making it up. You're trying to trick me. I'm convinced now. You can't change my mind. I'm gonna take another sip of this margarita. No,
it's real. They are currently on the Pursuit channel. So here's how it went. They were on Fox Sports Net from 2004 to 2005, Webcast 2005, Urban American Television 2005, Spike TV 2005 to 2014, Destination America during 2015, Pop Channel 2016 to 2019, Pursuit Channel, which is like a hunting channel. Yeah, it's outdoor recreation. They're currently on Twitch, and yeah,
I've heard of one of these channels.
Yep, and that's what happens. But yeah, that was NXT.
Sense.
Indie.
Come on, it's time to play.
And now it's time for a new segment thing where basically I talk about some indie wrestling matches that I watched over the month randomly.
The Chris's Indie Roundup, I believe, is what we're going to have to call this, because I had plenty of time to. I was perfectly capable of doing it. I could have watched these matches in advance. However, I did not. I am now watching them on YouTube as you are talking about them. So have fun, and I will chime in where I can.
Because I also, hold on, I've got some potato chips. I also posted the YouTube links in our shared document so he could watch them if he wanted. The first match we're talking about is Orange Cassidy with Swamp Monster versus Super Cop Dick Justice.
Yeah, and Swamp Monster is just a fat dude, but Super Cop Dick Justice impresses me a whole lot because he looks like a goddamn Bible Man character. I am so into this dude. Like, he would never get signed to an actual company, but this is the kind of character the indies exist for.
Are you talking about the robot guy or the dude?
The robot guy.
The robot guy is not Dick Justice.
What?
The robot guy is Shockwave?
Well, that's a twist. That's a twisty twist.
No, Swamp Thing is a swamp monster. He just looks like grass. The fat guy is Super Cop Dick Justice.
Well then.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong... What? I'm drunk.
Yeah, you are. But this month I got really, really high on Orange Cassidy. I just become a really big fan of him, and I just wanted to watch a bunch of his matches. And the 3 matches I'm talking about are really indicative of why I think his character is so fascinating and what people are completely misunderstanding about his character. Now, this first match with Super Cop Dick Justice is a classic comedy style match. Mm-hmm. It is pure pro wrestling guerrilla. It is... there's one point in the match where Dick Justice does a pointer finger gun at Orange Cassidy, and they treat it like a real gun. And Orange Cassidy eventually turns it onto the ref, and they do a bunch of stuff with that. It's really funny. It's a lot of good physical comedy, but it's a lot more it relies less on Cassidy's character, and it's much more of this is just fun, goofy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It also plays into the fact that Shockwave is there. I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Yeah. Shockwave is a cool dude who looks like a Bible Man character. Also, I just noticed a Vince Russo cosplayer in the audience. What the fuck?
Yeah, indie shows, man. Yeah, Shockwave, the wrestling robot.
Yeah, that is... I need an action figure of him, please, quick. What's his name? The God Beast, Goliath guy. Make a Goliath of him.
But also Swamp Monster is played by Chuck T, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's just a big old boy goofing ahoy.
Yeah, and this is a fun goofy match. The next kind of match I saw was Orange Cassidy versus Swoggle.
A.K.A. Hornswoggle, who is no longer a WWE boy except when they need him for a goofy spot. But he's hanging around the indies when he can because he's busy being a papa. Yep.
To a regular-sized person, which I hate to say is kind of funny, but I think he also understands it's also funny and he makes jokes about it.
It's, I don't find that as odd as I think other people do just because... there was a bizarre period of my childhood where my family and I were really into watching TLC shows, and one of the TLC shows that was on at that time was Little People, Big World, which is literally about two little people raising a couple of... They were all actually their kids, raising normal-sized children and one child that was also a little person.
I'm not saying it's funny because, oh, look at that, his son's normal size. It's more funny because, oh, look, it's just like his son. It's just weird.
Yeah.
He plays with it, is what I mean.
Indeed.
But this is the second kind of like Orange Cassidy match that I think is really indicative of his character, which is basically he is wrestling a person who wants a serious wrestling match. But Orange Cassidy is Orange fucking Cassidy. He's lazy. And he's stupid and he's an idiot. So he does one of his dumb little kicks and the person he's wrestling goes, "The fuck was that?"
Yeah, like there's this, like I'm still at the beginning of this, but I'm watching a spot right now where Cassidy takes his shirt off all lazily and Swoggle is like, "Okay, I'll do that." No, fuck that. What are you doing? And then the kick thing just happened.
Like these kind of matches are very much like the regular wrestler trying not to get caught up in Orange Cassidy's flow.
Mm-hmm.
And Orange Cassidy's just being lazy and nonchalant and everything. And it's like, and that's an interesting thing because you can play that up completely seriously and make it a psychological effect of the match. Or you can play it for comedy, which is what they're doing. It's an incredibly fascinating dynamic that I think could really work on a variety of levels.
Yeah.
I'm letting you watch it a little bit more, see if you have anything you want to say about it.
No, it's pretty cool. It's neat seeing Swoggle wrestle a match that isn't WWE's 100% serious booking, and also we're going to kind of trash you because you're a little person, and that's the audience we try to appeal to.
Right. But the final match I want to talk about Orange Cassidy is probably the best serious character work I have ever seen. It's Orange Cassidy versus David Starr. Now, if you don't know who David Starr is, he is an American wrestler who really was much more passionate about the English indie scene. And so he basically moved to England and became a British independent wrestler.
What a fucking lad.
Yeah. But his big character, like the thing he's been known for recently is the fact that he chastised Ring of Honor for wanting to put a show on in Israel. And he's very critical of the Israeli state. He's very much a progressive boy. He wants things to change for the better.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. But when he's wrestling, he tends to wrestle as a heel. So he uses it in the same way Daniel Bryan does, where he's right, but he's cocky and an asshole about it, so you hate him.
Yeah.
He's also really good at wrestling.
Unless we're in his hometown, then we're going to chant, "Please recycle."
Yeah. So in this match, he's going up against Orange Cassidy. Lazy bullshit boy. Lazy bullshit boy that doesn't care. Okay? So a guy who cares a lot versus a guy who doesn't care. Already, that's an interesting dynamic. So you're watching it right now, but basically it takes a bit to start the match proper because David Starr.
Yeah, Starr has done this like big dramatic sitting down doing a specific pose in the ring thing. And now Cassidy's doing it, but he's doing it very just like, this fucking, I'm here too, I guess. And Starr's got this face like, are you kidding me? What are you doing?
Orange Cassidy is completely taking the piss out of a guy who's taking himself completely seriously. And that already is a phenomenal dynamic for a comedy match and for a serious match. Also, all throughout, Orange Cassidy is always introduced as he hails from wherever. His weight, nobody knows. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy is great. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of like how it's a very nice characterful touch that not a lot of wrestlers do, or they do it in a very obscure kind of way. Like, this is the town where I learned how to wrestle. This isn't my hometown, but I'm going to book myself as from there. But like, there's people who will do it very explicitly as like, this is my character. I'll book myself as from here. Like, Breeze back in NXT now, he's booking himself as from a timeshare in Boca Raton, Florida.
Yeah, or like how Xavier Woods said he was from Angel Grove.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. It's a nice little bit of character bit. So the first part of the David Starr match, for like half of it, basically, I know I see the first quarter, is David Starr's trying to have a wrestling match, and Orange Cassidy is trying to have an Orange Cassidy match.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Orange Cassidy's doing his thing, and David Starr's just getting more and more pissed off. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're not taking me seriously. You're bullshit. And then eventually he just snaps and starts torturing Orange Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
He's just ripping Orange Cassidy to shreds. He is beating him to a pulp. I was waiting for you to groan there. Because it's orange.
Like, oh. See, because I'm drunk, I can only really focus on one thing at a time, so I'm like sort of skipping around in the video trying to get the gist of this match and not paying attention to you like an asshole.
No, that's fine. It's fine. It's funny. But eventually, after being beat up so much by David Starr, Orange Cassidy goes, you know what? Fuck it. Go Super Saiyan and actually starts having a wrestling match. And that's such a fascinating character. Because you could just treat Orange Cassidy as a joke. He could just be a joke. But that's not the point of Orange Cassidy. He's not a bad wrestler. That's not his character. He's a lazy wrestler. He knows how to wrestle. He can do all the moves. He's amazing and excellent and wonderful at it. He just doesn't care. He's One Punch Man, the professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fascinating character, and no one's giving it enough credit because, oh, he's the guy who does half-assed kicks for a joke.
Like, I just realized looking at him in this match, the gear he wears, like, it's supposed to be like, oh, I'm wearing jeans and a jean jacket, I don't care. But even his jeans are the fucking fake fabric dyed and painted to look like jeans, kind of jeans with the tied drawstring. They're sweatpants jeans.
Exactly. And there's something fascinating about that. And I definitely think he could do amazing things in the AEW. And Christopher Daniels, if you were listening, because we know you're head of talent relations, can you sign Orange Cassidy, please?
Also, is it just my drunk ass, or does he look a bit like Ryan Gosling?
Oh no, that's a joke. That's an ongoing thing with him. I mean, The shirt he wears when he comes out to the stage is a reference to a series of shirt Ryan Gosling and Macaulay Culkin traded.
Okay, because I literally know jack shit about Ryan Gosling, but he was like the hot male piece of ass in Hollywood for a few years, so I've seen his picture a good bunch of times before.
He also has a band. It was pretty good. I liked it. I liked the album.
Neat.
Yeah, but that was my little TED talk about Orange Cassidy.
Cool.
And the final match is just because I wanted to see some more of Jimmy Havoc. I wanted to see a little bit more of him. Sami Callihan versus Jimmy Havoc in a barbed wire death match.
Oh my god.
It was just pure hardcore madness. It was the MacGuffin was really great, was beautifully used. It was just a good, solid match. I suggest you watch it.
Cool. Oh, this was on Impact.
Yeah, it's an Impact show. That's where Sammy's kind of up in right now. Sami Callihan, it's very interesting. He seems like one of those guys that you're unsure of. Is he playing a dick or is he a dick? But the match was really good, really solid, just a good hardcore match. And it makes me excited to see more Jimmy Havoc. It's very interesting to see. I may pick up an Impact show every once in a while, but it made me interested in both of them. So that's kind of it for my indie roundup. Unless you want to say something about Jimmy Havoc and Sami Callihan.
They are good boys, and I support their endeavors, no matter what kind of pain induction those endeavors may involve. I'm sure it's for good reasons, such as entertaining drunken shitheads like myself.
But that's pretty much it for MMWP. So, Zach, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you from Parts Unknown?
Hello, I am Simeon Scott, the artist who is also known as the Vacuuminator. I make videos on the YouTube, except not right now, question mark? Because
You're in reruns.
Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of re-uploads on my channel, and they're all set for premieres, so you can watch them like they're live TV every day at 7 o'clock. A new video airs on my channel from now until August 28th. I've got them all scheduled out. And then after then, maybe I'm gonna come back with new videos. Maybe I'm gonna keep taking some time off. I'm taking time off till then at least, because I'm getting some shit straightened out to go back to school and be a real boy and that kind of fun stuff. And basically, I still enjoy doing YouTube, but I'm taking it a lot less seriously than I used to. I've gone from I'm the anime protagonist. This is my dream. I have to fight for my dream every day of my life. I have to be working towards that and training and gambate to fucking I make videos. You can watch them. And maybe one day I'll get big, but who cares? I've gotta go and make money and pay off my credit cards in the car that I just bought. Oh god, what is my life? But you can go and watch that shit at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. I make reviews, analysis, vlogs, fan edits, all kinds of fun stuff. You want to keep up with what I'm doing, follow me on Twitter at thevacuuminator. Follow me on Instagram also at thevacuuminator. And, fucking yes.
All right. I'm Chris Gaston and sober. I just wanted to point that out right now.
Yeah. Oh, fuck!
Oh, shit!
Ow.
Are you okay?
Keep going, I'll be fine.
All right. I'm Chris Gaston. I do video editorials when I have them done. You can find me on Boingo Writer in the YouTubes. I am on Twitter at Boingo_writer. I'm on Instagram at Boingo_writer. And you can find me in my Discord server. A link to that is in the description. So this was Modular Media Wrestling Podcast, a collective creative cooperative. Yeah, that works. Part of Modular Media, that whole creation sphere. See you next month. Back, any last words?
I'm just gonna lie down here for the rest of the night, if that's fine with you.
Okay. Make a note of that. Only 2 alcoholic drinks for Vac.
Free 8%ers.
That's why I said only 2 per show.
Oh. Okay. Hey, there's a dog here. Hi, doggy.
Beautiful. Beautiful madness.
Good boy. I love you.